Hi college and career success. Welcome to week 6 of the summer semester. It's so hard to believe that we are just a few weeks away from being finished already. So I want to walk through a few things before we jump into week 6 in particular. So as you can see here in week 1, I do have it scheduled to reopen this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you missed any work from week 1, because there was a lot going on that week, some of you were still getting adjusted to Brightspace, some of you enrolled like a day or two after the semester started, some of you may have just forgot to get everything completed. So this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have the opportunity to go back in and make up any of the week 1 assignments that you did not have a chance to complete back at the beginning of the semester. So please make sure you take advantage of that, especially if you feel like your grade could benefit from a little bit of a boost. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to week 6. So week 6, we are in chapters 9 and chapters 10, so please spend some time either in the lecture videos or hop into the textbook itself or the slides, just making sure that you're comfortable with the material. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you're doing this week. So you are going to have assignments from chapter 9 and chapter 10. So I will do what I've done before with 2 chapters. I will have assignment video that focuses on chapter 9, and then I'll come back with an assignment video that focuses on chapter 10. So just as an overview though, you do have 2 discussion posts, the chapter 9 and the chapter 10, both due by Wednesday for week 6 attendance and then responded to classmates by Sunday. You have a chapter 9 assignment, a chapter 9 quiz, a chapter 10 assignment, and a chapter 10 quiz. All of those are due Sunday as well. So again, I'm just going to focus on chapter 9 for this assignment. So let's go ahead and take a look. Chapter 9 discussion. Here is your prompt. Chapter 9 talks about civility, incivility, kind of respectful communication. So the prompt says, have you ever witnessed incivility in person or in an argument in the news? So people interacting in a way that's not very civil, not respectful, not kind or productive. And so this can be something you've witnessed at your workplace, in your own family, with friends, or maybe you've just seen it on the news, whether it's like the literal news or it was like an entertainment clip, something along those ways. So to kind of get your 150 words in, you can spend about half of it describing what happened, just to give some context so we understand what you're talking about, and then the other half talking about why do you think it gets to this point? Why do you think people are willing to shut down communication or use offensive language or kind of just not willing to hear other perspectives about things they are passionate about? So that is your chapter 9 prompt. Make sure you respond to that by Wednesday and then go back in and respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. Now, your chapter 9 assignment, this is called the Civility Project, and that is maybe a little misleading, but it's going to open up into a PDF. It's not really like a project, but what you'll see here is 2 examples, but then the same thing being asked of each. So your job is to try to find an example, and it says media example. So that's kind of wide. It can be social media, so you can definitely go into, Facebook or Instagram or whatever, platform you use. And this probably will work better with like written posts. If there's a post or an article or a link or something that's incivil, like it is demonstrating incivility, that's what you're going to use for these examples. So you're going to tell me like what is the example, and this is where you would put like the YouTube link, the Facebook link, and maybe you would upload a screenshot or it's a meme or anything like that. You're going to tell me what is being depicted. So just a real quick overview, what's going on in this image, this video, this post. Who do you think the audience is? Was this meant for like a group of friends? Was this meant for the general public? Was this meant for certain people who like certain activities? What is the purpose of that example? What are they trying to do? What is the purpose of the video or the purpose of the post? Why is it an example of incivility? Is there harsh language? Are they trying to put down a group of people? Are they just approaching the subject in a way that's not very respectful or responsible? What do you think motivated the creator, whether it's the person who recorded the video, posted the video, who talked, who did whatever it is they did? Why do you think they were motivated to do so? And what do you think as a result of the example? Do they want things to change? They just want to highlight information. So you're doing this in 2 different examples, but you're answering the same questions. So I will say politics, sometimes sports, the news in general, those all give great examples and possibilities of incivility. And I don't mean that as like a good thing, because we shouldn't encourage that. But unfortunately, we do see lots of examples of incivility in those different areas. We can also see it in how people interact online and social media, because people tend to say things online that they would not say in person. So the big thing is making sure that I have the link, the screenshot, the picture, whatever it is for each example, so that I can look at the original post or the original video and kind of have an idea, and then make sure you answer the questions. What you don't want to do is go into Google and say examples of incivility. Because what I've had students find before is like training videos on what happens or what to do if there's an issue of incivility, or it's like a little meme, or like, you don't want to do that. You want to go and you look and see. I'll give you an example. Don't use this one. It's kind of old at this point anyway. The Chris Rock and the Will Smith incident at the Oscars, like the slapping incident, right? That was an example of incivility. It was not really decorum. It was not respectful. It was not appropriate behavior. So back when that happened, I did have students pick that. So you can kind of pick like a current event if you need to as well. So when you're done, like a lot of these, make sure that you go up here and you hit save it with your changes, and then you'll just submit that as a Dropbox assignment. And then finally, your Chapter 9 quiz. Make sure you're answering all parts of the questions in 2 to 5 complete sentences. Question 1, there is a class where your professor is asking you to devise a set of rules to guide discussion. Based on what you've read in the chapter, what 3 rules would you suggest and why? In the context of our chapter, not just in general. In the context of our chapter 9, what rules would you put into place? Question 2, consider the 4 types of identity: personal, role, social, and collective, and then think about a time when one of those was important in an interaction you had. Question 3, what's the purpose of Title IX and why do you think it's important in higher education? Question 4, what's the difference between equality and equity? And then question 5, if one of your professors neglected to include the contributions or perspectives of an underrepresented group, what could you do to support that inclusion? Then again, as always, make sure you save that and submit it. So if you have any questions over the Chapter 9 assignments, please reach out and let me know, and then I will be back with the Chapter 10 focus assignments. See you then.